the stock market, meaning companies, new highs.
I'm not fucking leaving. The show goes on. Nuts! They're nuts! They know nothing!
An online network called Internet.
Well, it's very hip to be on the internet right now.
Welcome, my fellow degenerates. The rest of your life starts right now. I am your host, Brett Ritchie, filling in for Brian Mike on today. And I don't particularly know how he usually starts the show, but we're going to roll with Pick of the Day check-in. We'll get some Binance 10 baggers. The FEI protocol launches. Trevor Milton cashes out. And there is a jobs report blowout. Tony, jobs report blowout, that's got your fingerprints all over it. Why don't you walk us through this?
Well, absolutely. I've been talking doom and gloom quite a bit for the last few episodes, but it is nice every now and again to get some, at least on the surface, good news. I think I owe it to our audience to talk about that a little bit, but don't think I'm not going to put a little doom and gloom in there. Before we get there, though, let's take a look at this. Jobs report from ADP. For March was up 517,000. Now this looks revised down a little bit from earlier reports where they were talking almost 1 million jobs, but this is still good. They break it down into what type of employment has been created. The thing I want to point out here is the leisure and hospitality industry has seen the biggest spike. Now that's hotels, restaurants, and that makes a lot of sense as things start to open up. But the other thing to consider is those types of jobs aren't necessarily high paying. This is a growth of a lot of entry-level jobs, and you still have over 18 million Americans officially taking unemployment benefits from the government. Among them are this 169,000. So this is good news, and that caused the stock market to explode. As you can see, the numbers this way over here. I'm backwards. The numbers on the chart here. It's green across the board, so that's great. The only thing I would point out is that unemployment is calculated by number of people looking for work divided by number of people who actually have jobs, but they don't actually count in the number of people who aren't looking for work and don't have a job and don't plan of entering the jobs market. And when you calculate that in here at Shadow Stats, you get a little over 25% unemployment. So I don't necessarily think we're out of the woods yet, but Jack, I'm sorry, Brett, I was going to ask you this. You've been watching the markets with me these last few weeks. Are we going to continue to see this rise in green, or is this temporary?
That's a good question. I don't know. To me, it's such a weird time. So much of the market feels overheated, and it's good to see the economy coming back, things opening up. As I've said before, I think most of the lockdown response didn't even help and just hurt and was insane, and it was by politicians with their own interests in mind, not the people. So, but the stock market didn't really have any correspondence or correlation to the people over the last year. As you're saying, all these people are out of work. The market's been roaring. So I don't know if like the everyday person's life gets any better. If that starts getting better, does that mean the market crashes now? Because it didn't make a whole lot of sense over the last year at all. So I don't know.
Well, you make a good point, Jack. I got a question for you. What happens if we start getting really good news and the Fed stops backstopping the stock market with their purchases and buybacks and stock buying? What happens if the news gets too good and we don't have that stock market support anymore? Does it crash?
Well, yeah, it'd be the ultimate irony. It seems like the last 12 to 14 months, all of the valuation of the stock market has been based on, in Q2 and Q3 of 2021, we're going to reopen and things are going to be great. So, of course, these 2020 earnings reports are terrible. So we're not worried about the extreme short term. We're going to value everything based on what's going to happen next year. But now as the theoretical projections become real, and it's like, okay, well, now we're reopening. What are Q2 2021 numbers going to look like? It would be the ultimate irony to have all this pump on just the hopefulness of what's going to happen when we reopen. And as we actually start reopening, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, no, things aren't that great. Boom, down. How does the Fed impact it? I don't know. Are they really building into their forecasts, like banking on this continual federal dole Is that just built into how they plan their
They
business?
might,
Or do they
or even in terms of
taking it like, oh, what a surprise, free money, this is great, this is helpful? Or are they actually saying like, okay, we're going to change the way we operate now because we're assuming in Q3, Q4, the free money keeps rolling in? If they're assuming it, then it's very bad when the free money gets turned off. If they're still treating it as like gifts falling from the sky, I think we might be okay.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me.
I can see that. So speaking of things becoming real, Trevor Milton has now cashed out another $49 million. He did it last Wednesday, trying to do it a little below the radar, but of course that came out. He already owns either the expensive or the second most expensive house in Utah. It is a really sick house. He's now got another $49 million from the rolling a truck down a hill product that we've come to know and love. Jack, what do you think here? NKLA, they're still trading in a multi-billion-dollar valuation, and they have nothing. No partnerships now, no real partnerships at least, no product. It's just vaporware.
I don't know. I guess I'll just hit my default like class warfare button. Me and my fellow middle class plebs, we should always be directing our ire upwards towards things like this. Any social issue or political issue where the fellow middle class left and rights are fighting with each other is just such a distraction from like, turn your ire upwards. Trevor Milton, I'm just learning about this story, but 20 stories like this every day of someone making way too much money for doing not just no work, but probably value decreasing work and like hurting the economy, hurting society. So yeah, I don't know. It's just another in a long string of just morally reprehensible acts. I don't like it.
Makes sense to me. Tony, what do you got?
I think you're too hard on him. I mean, did you see the gravity-powered truck they created? That is high-tech stuff. I've never seen gravity-powered tech in my life, so
yeah, I mean, gravity is the ultimate renewable resource, for sure.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Say, Brett, why don't you tell me what this FEI protocol is? I just pulled this up here from the notes. Here we go.
Yeah, so I call it FEI protocol. I don't know how it's pronounced. I haven't heard it. I've just seen it in writing. So this is an algorithmic stablecoin. It had their Genesis event a few days ago, and they raised over $1 billion. And essentially, it's a coin that is algorithmically supposed to trade near $1. And basically, a ton of people aped into this stablecoin and got wrecked. If you sell below the peg, you get burned like quite significantly. It's 95 cents now, which sounds horrible. Like, okay, I paid $1 for it, I sell for 95 cents. They burn another 30% on top if you sell at 95 cents. So you get massively punished for selling below the peg here. And essentially a ton of people aped in. They had some other coin, Tribe, that you could like lock up, fade, earn Tribe or whatever. And it's the history of algorithmic stablecoins, by the way, is 0%, right? None of them have ever worked. So again, you often hear this time is different. A lot of smart people said this time's different. A lot of smart people were skeptical here. And so far, the jury's still out, but it's like, it went from like a really euphoric feeling from the people that were behind this to like, uh-oh, now everyone wants out. Because like people thought they were going to make money on this coin, this stable coin, but there weren't any buyers. Everyone interested already aped into the original billion that fired into this thing. So I don't know. I think buyer beware. You know, if you do believe in it, there's a dip that you could buy. But again, you can't sell it here or you're going to get absolutely burned quite badly. So you going to buy any of this, Tony?
Well, I don't know about this, although I am captivated by stablecoins. The ones I guess I would turn viewers to are, of course, the MakerDAO and DAI collateralized set. That's been really stable, but that's pegged to the US dollar. Yeah. But then there's another one that's just pegged to itself called RAI. I'm actually creating a liquidity pair on Uniswap right now for the RAI token, RAI. And that is really new. And the reason I'm creating that liquidity pair is I think that is also going to receive a token drop at some point near in the future. So fire up that MetaMask, get over to Uniswap, create a RAI liquidity pair, and maybe you'll get some of the anchor token. Now this seems to have kept its peg pretty well, although you see a few spikes there, but I mean, stable coins, there's such a future for them. One's gonna win, so it's worth looking at.
Yeah.
I just
Well,
don't get
stable coins are fairly boring. I think we should head over to the Binance Smart Chain and take a look at some of these potential 10xers that Jack has been keeping his eye on. Jack, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so like to bridge from the stablecoin conversation, I saw on Twitter a few weeks ago, my timeline was full of like, oh, this new algorithmic stablecoin is launching. I almost dropped what I was doing to ape in, and then my brain said, I feel like there's so many better ways to deploy capital than buying a coin that I guess by definition is supposed to just be flat. My just simple one-dimensional mind just didn't get that. I mean, what's been going on the last 2 or 3 months, it seems like, at least the world that I pay attention to, is Binance Smart Chain. It's been blowing up. It was probably 6 to 8 weeks ago that Binance went from like 100 to the high 200s, and now just in the last 5 days, it's, as you see on the screen, pushing high 300s. And it seems like it's all in the back of this Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. The simplest way I can describe it for the little guy like me, the like $5,000 or $10,000 bankroll investor, is I can't play on Uniswap. I can't pay these ETH transaction fees, but I can pay 30 cents a transaction fee. And it just feels like the last few months in the Binance ecosystem, people and projects are just copy pasting the stuff that worked in the Ethereum environment last summer, last fall, and around the holidays. And they're just recreating, like, take all the best projects that worked in 2020 on the Ethereum network and do it on the Binance Smart Chain network. And lo and behold, you're seeing 10, 20, 30x returns. Not investment advice. Obviously, if it's too good to be true, it probably isn't. But for the hyper short term, it's working out really well.
I mean, that to me, honestly, could even work in the long term. That's one of the main arguments against Ethereum, that it's easily copied, and they're the ones that pay the expensive sort of research costs, right? So whoever comes out with the smart contract first, they've done all the development, they put all these resources in, and then like a Tron or a Binance Smart Chain can come along and basically just copy paste it, again with much cheaper fees. The end user really only cares about their own experience, which, as you pointed out, is much cheaper on Binance Smart Chain than Ethereum, which is why they've been able to get so many users. So Ethereum runs some risk of being like the whale research chain that chains with more activity are just piggybacking off of.
I like your way of saying that, the whale research chain. That really is what Binance seems to have become. It's trying to be Ethereum. Cardano's trying to steal that lunch, Polkadot, but it seems like Ethereum's going to win out in the end with some scaling solution, and Binance will always be playing catch-up. I mean, at the end of the day, Binance is centralized. Doesn't it kind of destroy the whole ethos of Ethereum and the DeFi space, even if it works?
Yeah, I definitely feel
But the user doesn't care. They want cheap transactions.
I enjoy the money more than I dislike the feeling dirty. But there are projects. I don't know if this is even possible. Maybe this is a smokescreen. But there's the most recent project that pre-saled like a week and a half ago was a project called Swirl, which is attempting to anonymize and privatize. Maybe even it's like a Binance Coin Tumblr almost in a way. So it recognizes that one of the big flaws with Binance Smart Chain is the lack of privacy. So there's attempts to solve that. Maybe the tech will solve it, and the market reacted pretty strongly to the existence of that coin.
Well,
yeah, that makes sense.
I'm still wary of centralized projects, but we're going to see how I mean, someone's making money on it regardless. So if you're here to make money, forget anything I'm telling you. It probably will.
Yeah. Speaking of making money, Jack, let's go in and check out this pick of the day update. Oh my, look at that. Who's number one?
I can't
That's
see.
me.
The text is a little small, actually. Boy, let's move on to number two. I can't really determine who number
Glance
one is.
Glance and Mycon are just utterly wrecked, so they were too embarrassed to even show up today to own up to their performance.
That's right.
So an overall tough March, as you see. Low double digits led the day, and then Glance and Mycon exactly flat. A couple of big winners in there, of course. TCAT plus 200%. I think what's really interesting is on the second page. This is like, as a viewer slash participant on the show, my like way of trying to, as an analyst, if my goal is to find actionable insights that can drive future decisions. In the month of March, it was number one, the first time there were no shorts in picks of the day. And March also happened to be like one of the bad down months. So maybe perhaps unfortunate timing to finally decide to stop shorting whenever the entire market starts going down. And then kind of stepped off the crypto gas. As crypto was heating up in January and February, you can see on the bottom chart, those orange bars there, a large percentage of picks of the day were crypto coins. We had Top Shot picks. We had rare Pepes getting picked. And March was kind of almost a return to normalcy where we were picking the S&P. We were picking various index funds and just traditional stocks. Obviously, correlation is not causation, and hindsight's 2020. But if I had to pick 2 reasons why we saw the market mania picks of the day decrease in ROI a little bit month over month in March, it would be not sprinkling in enough shorts and getting away from crypto.
Makes sense to me. I'm done shorting though. It's just I shorted Riot Blockchain when Bitcoin was at 18K. I shorted MicroStrategy then also. Just got absolutely smoked when it was just like puts, so whatever. I lost my investment, but yeah. And then I was like, I'm done. I'm done with the shorting, at least temporarily. I still like to be like, fuck this company, go in and short it. But right now, long only for temporarily.
I think that's smart. I think the market's going way up from here. I think it will continue to be backstopped by the Fed. Let's just be long.
Cool. Well, let's go to the new picks of the day. We got some today to cover.
Absolutely.
Thanks for putting that together, Jack.
Here we go, boys.
Problem.
Drop it like it's hot. Everybody stack. I'm stacking to the top.
All right. Friendly reminder, this is not investment advice. Jack, what do you got for us?
I've got Walt, like a bank vault with a W. Up 10% actually since the show started. Going back to what I was saying about Binance Smart Chain, I was familiar with there were all these launch pads and pre-sales going on in the ETH space that I just couldn't afford to partake in like November, December, January. Well, now there's launch pads and there's pre-sales in the Binance Smart Chain space. Right now I see like 3 or 4 main launch pad competitors trying to be like the definitive spot to get into Binance Smart Chain pre-sales. I like Walt. They had Swirl Cash last week. It's 17x on opening day. Just 45 minutes ago, they did their second pre-sale with a coin called Euler, which is supposed to be an analytics tool specifically for Binance Smart Chain. It sold out in 6 minutes. It's just a hot market right now for guys like me who felt like they missed out on the 2017 ICO craze, who couldn't afford to play in the Ethereum game a few months ago. This is my opportunity. This is my moment. This is what I'm going with. Not investment advice, but my pick of the day.
Cool. Tony, what do you got for us?
I'm doing Albemarle. I'm not quite sure how you say it, but this is a lithium mining outfit. They're down a little bit over the last few weeks, but I think EV and lithium mining is about to take off. We had a scroller joke a few weeks back that said, in major win for environmentalism, wars for oil to be replaced by wars for lithium by 2040. And a part of me believes that because we're going to have to get down in the dirt and start pulling this stuff out. So that's mine, ALB, lithium play. Nice.
And I'm going to roll with Toyota. Another kind of long-term play I like, the safe-ish long-term play. This stock barely moves, which I don't get. I think Toyota makes really good cars. Grew up with Camrys, a Toyota household, and I think that they're just so efficient that they're going to be a player in the electric vehicle space. I think people are just sort of writing them off, but they have a massive presence and they make great cars. So this is a great business. I like it for the long term. And that's going to do it for picks of the day. In the words of Lil Wayne, way back in the day, it's a dirty world, but it still spins. You can't do nothing about it but try to live in it. And yeah, that's a pretty good quote. That's going to do it for us. We will see you tomorrow, if there is a tomorrow. But for now, it's lights out.
I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. I never sleep if I don't have. I never sleep. I never sleep if I don't have my medicine. Time to right the wrong. So your hands in the air if you like the song. If you're going over there, take it twice as long. Last time ain't talking about Tylenol. Oh, I bet you'd like to know. You can come around the way if you're trying to go. If you want to switch lanes for a pot of gold or a domino, out of control. The usual. Get mad cause I'm looking at your girl. Switch it up. I do it so much louder than everything you've heard. Everybody heard, got the word that the world wasn't turning. Act like you're in a jury. However, turn it where I would turn it. Can't lie like it's Mississippi burning. Don't act like you're in a daze. I imagine should've looked the other way. Couldn't clear space on my mind. Was afraid of the time. Strobe light like in the moonlight. I'm in the mood right now. How about tonight? My interview's tight.